So today, we're going to talk about giving your computer a little ghost in the machine, a personal bot that you can build yourself to take over all those repetitive, soul-crushing tasks we all have to do. We're going to use a really neat Python library to get it done. Let's dive right in.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at the screen, your hand is starting to cramp up, and you're just performing the same sequence of clicks and keystrokes over and over and over again. It's like the digital version of hammering rocks. And it's especially painful when you're stuck using some older legacy application that doesn't have a modern API to just, feed the data in automatically.
So picture this exact scenario. You've got a spreadsheet, it's packed with hundreds of customer orders or something. And then you have this old, clunky desktop app, and you have to manually type every single record into it. There's no import button, there's no API, it's just you, your keyboard, and hours of mind-numbing work staring you in the face. That is the digital grind. But what if you could just write a script to do it all for you?
Well, this is where PyAutoGUI comes in. It's a Python library for GUI automation, which is just a fancy way of saying it lets your code take control of your mouse and keyboard. You literally become the puppet master. Your script pulls the strings, it clicks buttons, it moves the mouse around, it types text into any application just like a person would, only way, way faster.
The real magic here is just how simple it is to get started. I mean, it really all boils down to 3 core commands: moving the mouse, clicking the mouse, and typing on the keyboard. That's it. With just these 3 basic building blocks, move to, click, and write, you can build some surprisingly powerful automations.
So how does your script know where to click? Well, it all works on a grid of X and Y coordinates, kind of like in high school math class. The top left corner of your screen is position 0, 0. And if you're ever not sure what the coordinates are for a button or a text field, there's a handy little function for that. You just use PyAutoGUI.position, run your script, hover your mouse over your target, and boom, it'll print out the exact coordinates you need. Super simple.
Okay, so let's take those building blocks and actually put them to work. We're going to go back to that nightmare scenario, that legacy app and that huge spreadsheet, and see how a really simple script using move to, click, and write can just completely change the game.
And this is where it gets really incredible. Take a look at the impact. Manually entering just one record takes, about 2 minutes? The script does it in 5 seconds. But here's where we scale it up. To enter 100 records by hand, you'd be spending over 3 hours of your life clicking and typing. The PyAutoGUI script, it's done in less than 9 minutes. You can literally start the script, go make a coffee, and come back to a finished job.
Let's just put a hard number on that. That's a 97.5% reduction in the time it takes to do that task. This isn't just a tiny improvement. It is a complete game changer for your productivity. You're taking a task that eats up your entire afternoon and shrinking it down into a coffee break.
Now, as amazing as this all sounds, PyAutoGUI isn't some magic wand for every single problem. It has its own set of quirks and limitations. It's kryptonite, you could say. And honestly, understanding these is absolutely key if you want to use it effectively and not just end up frustrated.
Okay, first things first, you gotta know when to use this tool and when not to. You might have heard of another tool called Selenium. Here's the key difference. PyAutoGUI controls your entire desktop. It thinks in terms of screen coordinates. Selenium, on the other hand, lives inside your web browser. It's built to find specific web elements, like a button with a certain ID. So for that old desktop app, PyAutoGUI is perfect. For scraping a modern website, Selenium is almost always the better choice.
All right, let's get into the common gotchas. The main thing to remember is this. PyAutoGUI acts like a person sitting at your computer, so it can only see what's on your main monitor. It can't click on windows that are minimized or hidden behind another one. And because it relies on those exact coordinates, if you change your screen resolution, your script is going to break. And of course, since it needs a screen to look at, it's not going to work in a headless environment like a cloud server.
Here's a really common one that will make you pull your hair out. Your script works perfectly until you try to use it on a video game or some other protected application, and then suddenly, nothing happens. Well, as this Reddit user found out, the solution is often pretty simple. Those programs run with higher privileges, so your script needs them too. The fix is usually just to run your code editor or your script as an administrator.
Now, besides just clicking coordinates, PyAutoGUI has another really cool trick. It can find and click on images. You can give it a little screenshot of a button, and it'll find that button on the screen for you. But, and this is a big but, by default, it's looking for a pixel-for-pixel perfect match. If a shadow or a color or the size is even slightly off, it's going to fail.
Luckily, there's a fix for that. The image finding functions have a confidence parameter. So you can set it to a value like 0.9, and you're basically telling PyAutoGUI, hey, find me something that's at least a 90% match. This makes your scripts way more reliable. The only little catch is that this feature needs another library called OpenCV, so you'll have to install that separately.
This next tip might just be the most important one of all. By default, PyAutoGUI has a built-in fail-safe. If your script starts going haywire, and trust me, at some point it will, you can stop it instantly just by slamming your mouse cursor into any of the four corners of your screen. It is a critical safety net, and I highly, highly recommend you never, ever disable it.
So, when you boil it all down, here's what you need to remember. PyAutoGUI is your absolute go-to tool for automating anything you can physically see and interact with on your computer screen. It is the perfect weapon for taming those ancient legacy applications and saving yourself from the daily digital grind.
And that pretty much wraps it up. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. What's that one repetitive, click-heavy, mind-numbing task in your digital life that is just begging for a personal bot to come and take over? Thanks for listening.